Hello. Hi everyone. How's it going? Welcome to your weekly Thursday Q&A. I'm Kendra Perry. And if this is your first time joining me, I'm a functional diagnostic nutritionist with a love for poop, for hormones, and for detox. So we're going to be talking about lots of good things today. I had lots of good questions sent in today that I cannot wait to go over. One thing I wanted to mention is that I hope it is not as hot where you are as it is where I am. I had a terrible sleep last night, so it is really hot in my house. We just moved into, in April, we moved into a rental. We're living here until we build our house out in the country. And we have this house that's way at the top of the mountain. We get full afternoon sun, and none of the windows open. It's impossible to get airflow into the house. And when we go to bed at night, it is like 32 degrees in our house, and I cannot, no matter what I do, no matter, I close everything up for the day, and then I wait until the sun goes down, which doesn't happen until 9 o'clock here. It doesn't go behind the mountain until 9 o'clock, so we're getting that full sun. And then I open everything up, and it's just not helping, and I'm already, I run pretty hot. I'm a hot sleeper, and I have been so hot. Well, I slept. So last night, what I decided to do was I'm like, okay, I'm going to sleep out on the deck. And it was awesome. It was so much cooler, and I felt so much better. But the neighbors were kind of having a bit of a party, so they had music, and they were talking really loud, and I could hear them over my earplugs. So I was like, crap, I'm going to go into the basement. So we have this, creepy little basement. I dragged my mattress, down into this creepy little basement, and then I woke up an hour later with spiders all over me. So then I ended up dragging my sorry ass back to my room and going into my hot bedroom. And so there's really just no escape. Apparently our landlords are getting a quote for an air conditioner to put into the furnace system. But this morning we ordered a portable air conditioner because I honestly cannot take it. It has been so hot, and I love sleeping in the cold. And that was my very unsuccessful nighttime adventure last night. So I didn't get much sleep, and before I went into my room, I ended up having to have a cold shower. So hopefully it is not as hot where you are as it is here. Okay. Portables are the bomb. I hope they're the bomb. The one we got has somewhat good reviews, but it was the only one we could find on Amazon Prime that we can get in 2 days. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to get it. Hopefully this is good enough. Literally I just needed to cool the room a couple degrees, and I think I would feel a lot better. But it's just this past 10 days we've been having this crazy heat wave, and yeah, I'm just not sleeping. I just can't really sleep in the heat, and I don't think I've ever lived in a place where you actually cannot make it cool. Okay, anyway, so I digress. I'm off track here, but yeah, and it's good that you're on, Alicia, because I'm going to address your question first. So you were wondering about saunas. You were wondering about which type of sauna. Well, actually, I'm flailing here a bit. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull up that documents just so I make sure I fully answer your question. Okay, so you wanted to know saunas. Which one is best for general detoxification, near, far, or just plain one that makes you sweat? If those exist, discuss how it detoxifies. Also discuss how it detoxifies. I just read an article that states you don't detox in a sauna, which I found interesting but annoying. Okay, so that's really funny that someone would say you don't detox in a sauna, because the skin is a primary elimination route. We release things through the sweat. So pretty much anything that makes you sweat is going to make you detox. So virtually any type of sauna will actually cause you to detox. And, in the past, a lot of people have really recommended the infrared saunas. They think that those only have the detoxification capacity, but all the research shows that any sauna will cause you to detox. So whether it's a Scandinavian, one that's going to be at your gym, or it's an infrared like the one behind me, they're all going to cause you to detox. You just need to be sweating. The benefit of the infrared over the regular sauna is you don't have to be in it as long, because it actually heats you from the inside out rather than the outside in. So you may notice that when you go in the sauna at your gym, that it's really hard to stay in because your skin really heats up, and you can't breathe properly, and it's because the ambient air temperature is really hot, so it's almost kind of burns your skin. Yeah, the article says that only your liver detoxes. Yeah, well, that's bullshit, because a lot of cells in your body detox. Actually, some of the primary detox cells in your body are your stomach cells. There's lots of detoxification routes. The lungs detoxify. We detox when we cry. Our colon, we detox in our poop. Our urine, our kidneys detox. or skin detoxes. All these things detox. So you should not listen to that person because they are not well informed. But anyways, so with the infrared sauna, it heats the skin from the inside out. So it doesn't make you feel as hot. So you can actually stay in it a lot longer. So it's much easier to use it in infrared sauna, but both will make you detox. I would say the goal with sauna use for detox is to stay in it about 30 minutes. That can be hard to do in a regular sauna. But in an infrared, it's actually not hard at all. Like mine behind me, in the winter, I might stay in it up to an hour. Right now, it's hot as fuck here, so I don't actually stay in it that long, 15, 20 minutes, and I'm sweating like crazy. Okay. So when it comes to the types of saunas, like there's near, mid, and far, and they will all help you detox, but they all do have different benefits. So that's the benefit of an infrared sauna. So with the near infrared light, it's really good for inflammation, it's really good for skin and anti-aging, and it's really good for mitochondrial function. So the near infrared light are the red lights, and these ones are actually really easy to make. So you can get those little red chicken lights, those little red heat lamps that you can get on Amazon for like $6 or $7. You can get 4 of them. You can create some sort of enclosed space. So that could be something that you build, or it could be a closet that you don't use, or even a shower stall that you don't use, anything that is an enclosed space, and then you'd put a space heater in there. And so that way you are sweating, so you're getting the detox benefits, but you're also getting like improved energy from mitochondrial function. It makes your skin really amazing. I use a red light on my skin pretty regularly, and it's crazy what it'll clear up. It actually cleared up a birthmark that I had since I was a baby. I have this, it's called a Joov light, Joov. And it's just a high-powered LED near-infrared light, and it's really good for all things skin. I've been trying to work on it with my little frown lines, too. I was using cosmetic acupuncture, but I wasn't sure if that was actually having the results, so I've been running my red infrared light on it, and I'll let you know how that goes. Hopefully, it will keep me young forever and get rid of all my wrinkles, right? Okay. So that's the benefit of the near, and the benefit of the near too is you can build one for under $300. It's actually pretty easy to build by yourself if you are handy. The mid has a lot of benefits for inflammation. It has more of the weight loss benefits. It has some detox benefits as well. It tends to get a bit of a deeper detox, but you're never going to find a mid-infrared sauna. They just don't make it on their own. There is one type of sauna that makes a 3-in-1. So the one I have behind me, this is a Sunlighten 3-in-1. I think it's called an Aspire, or no, it's called an M-Pulse. So it is actually all 3 wavelengths. So it has near, mid, and far. That's the reason I bought it, because I couldn't decide on the benefits. I wanted all 3, so I spent the money and got the really expensive one, and it's the only one that does a 3-in-1. So if you want mid, you have to go with one like that. And with the far, so far doesn't have the mitochondrial benefits, it doesn't have the anti-aging and skin benefits, but it does have a lot of the weight loss and cardiovascular benefits. So there's been some studies that have shown that using a far infrared sauna for, I think, about 6 weeks on a regular basis, which probably equals out to probably like 3 to 4 times a week, can increase your cardiovascular health by 60%. Far infrared is touted for a lot of the detox benefits. So I think any sweating is going to cause you to detox, but, and let me tell you, I'm sweating like crazy right now. Oh my God, it's so hot in this house. It's like already 32 degrees. Anyways, yeah, so the far infrared, I think it causes a bit of a deeper cellular sweat. And a lot of the research has shown that 6 months of far infrared sauna use can cause you to get rid of half of your the metals in you. So I think that's really cool. But I would say that if you're going to use sauna for detox, I would also want to make sure that you're doing something that's going to immobilize the fat cells. So I would probably do it with high interval training, some sort of cardio exercise prior to the sauna use, and then I would be using binders as well. So I would be using like things like coconut charcoal, chitosan, modified citrus pectin, and psyllium husk. So those are really good binders that will help bind to those toxins and pull them out of the body. And definitely, like, if you do use a sauna for detox, I recommend bringing a little hand towel in. Some people actually use like an old credit card, and they'll just kind of push the sweat off the body, because you do want to make sure that you're not reabsorbing it. So definitely like pat it down and, you know, make sure you're removing all that sweat, because there might be a lot of toxins and chemicals in that sweat. And then when you have a shower, make sure you have a cool or cold shower to close those pores, and use like a Castile soap or some sort of natural soap to wash off your body, and just make sure you're dumping all those chemicals down down the drain. So those are the different benefits of saunas. I think we all need to be using saunas these days because we are all toxic. The research is very clear on this. We are all getting exposed. We are all storing toxins, and the dose doesn't matter. So whether you are getting a small dose or a large dose, it's causing the same health problems. I think chemicals and toxins are pretty highly involved in hormonal issues. A lot of the disease we're seeing today, I think it can probably be rooted back to a lot of the stuff we're getting exposed to. And sauna is a really great way to get rid of these toxins. So I recommend a sauna, whether if you have access to an infrared, that's great. If you want to spend the money and buy an infrared sauna, definitely talk to me. I can definitely recommend a really good sauna for you. Or just go to the gym and sweat, get in that sauna. Exercise can be really great for that as well, but not all of us can exercise intensely because either we can't sweat, people with Hashimoto's and hypothyroid tend to not be able to sweat, or we're just so fatigued and sick that we actually can't do that type of exercise. So that's what's really great about the sauna. You get a lot of benefits from exercise and weight loss without the exercise. So pretty awesome thing. So I highly recommend sauna. Yes, a sauna helps you detox because sweat is a primary route of elimination from the body. Pretty much any of the excretions in our body is your body will use it to get rid of shit. So whether that's sweat, whether that's poop, whether that's tear, whether it's discharge, or just breathing out, like we are always moving things out of the body, and it's not just the liver. I would say that there's a pretty good argument that the cells, the enterocytes in your stomach actually have more detoxification capabilities than your liver. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Alicia. All right, so the next question, and this is a good one. So I went to my GI doctor and he discounted my SIBO suggestion. What do I do? Okay, so I see this a lot. So a lot of times you're going to go to your doctor with something that you think is going on and they're going to discount you. They're going to say that's not what's going on, and they're going to want to not do anything. And I think when it comes to our health, we really have to advocate for ourselves. We really have to be firm about what we need. I actually was just on the phone with a client, and we were doing an iodine protocol with her. And with iodine, in order for iodine to get into the cell and be fully saturated in the body will use your thyroid stimulating hormone to do that. So it'll actually raise TSH on a blood test, which is normal. That is the correct response. That is actually how you get iodine into the iodine transport system. So it's normal. But a lot of medical practitioners will look at TSH only and use it to diagnose hypothyroid. So she's worried with doing the iodine protocol when she goes to her doctor in the fall that he's going to be like, oh my God, your TSH is high. We need to up your thyroid meds. When in fact, it's just her body utilizing the iodine. And she was really worried. She's like, I'm worried about the pushback. I think it's really tough because I think a lot of, and it's not all doctors. There are some really good doctors out there, and I think we want to give those ones credit, but there's definitely a lot of doctors who have a lot of ego, and they will stand there and tell you that they know your body better than you, even though they probably spend 5 minutes with you a year or every few months, right? So I think we need to be really firm. We really need to advocate for ourselves. We need to, possibly find someone who can actually help us. And if your GI doctor is discounting SIBO, then don't go to him. There's a lot of practitioners out there who can help you with SIBO. For example, like I'm not a doctor, I'm unlicensed, but I'm an expert in SIBO. I've worked with tons of SIBO cases and have resolved it in so many people. And that just comes from doing a lot of education and doing a lot of work clinically. So I've worked with a lot of clients, I've seen what works. So find someone who will be on your side, whether that's a naturopathic doctor or, someone like me who can actually help you with something like that. Because, I think the thing that bothers me the worst, or I guess, with the conventional medical system is like a lot of times we're going in not feeling well and they're telling us we're healthy. And they're only going to tell us that there's something wrong when things are really far gone. And that drives me crazy because there's all that in between where things are going out of whack that we're not even acknowledging. And there was a really funny meme I saw the other day, and it was a picture of this girl sitting on like one of those doctor tables, and she was just like covered in like spots, and she looked super haggard, and the doctor was like, oh, your blood work is great. You're the healthiest client I have, or the healthiest patient I have. And I laughed a little bit because, that's typically what's going on. We're going to our doctors sick, not feeling well, with gut issues, with fatigue, with all this stuff going on, and they're telling us that we're healthy. Or, and they're sending us home saying that everything is normal. And it just kind of drives me crazy because I think it discounts the experience people are having. It makes people think that they're hypochondriacs or it's all in their head. Like, we're not giving those people credit for what they're actually experiencing. So you need to advocate for yourself. I did recently have a client who told me that she went to her doctor and wanted to get her copper IUD out because it was making her feel crazy. And the doctor was like, nope, you just need to get used to it. You just need to hang tight. And the doctor like refused to remove it, and she had to get very stern, very aggressive, and really stand in her position of power and tell her to take the fucking thing out. And so sometimes we need to do that. You know more about your body than your doctor does. You are in your body every single day. You experience everything going on in your body, so you know better, so you know what's best. And if you need something or you aren't getting something, you need to find someone who can help you, or you need to get in that power position and you need to tell them what the fuck is up. So sorry for the swearing, but seriously, you got to be really, really aggressive with it sometimes. So that's what I would say to that. Okay. Good question. Really good question. Okay. So next question. I've been testing my blood sugar and my fasting result is 100. That's in the American system. Does that mean I'm a diabetic? So no. Okay. So if you go online, you're going to find that 100 and above technically diagnoses you as a pre-diabetic, but these are just numbers. Okay. Definitely if your fasting result is 100, it may mean that you need to adjust your diet. It may mean that you don't process carbohydrates or sugar very well. So I would play with your diet. I would try, cutting out sugar. I would try testing, that daily for 2 weeks and kind of playing around with your diet, eating less carbs, eating more protein, eating less protein, and just see if anything shifts it. The fasting is a good result, but a really important result is actually your postprandial measurement. So if you have a glucometer, and I recommend that anyone get one, you can buy them on Amazon and just test your blood sugar because it gives you really good information. But postprandial is 2 hours after you eat a meal. And 2 hours after you eat a meal, you want to be below 140, but ideally you want to be below 120. And if you're below 100, that's super healthy. So that tells you that your body has dealt with that sugar, because every time you eat, your body is pushing up blood sugar, your body is secreting insulin. So if you're above 140, then that's an issue. It's telling us that there's blood sugar dysregulation, there's insulin issues. So in that case, I would be really playing around with your diet, playing around with your carbohydrate load, reducing sugars, reducing carbohydrates, upping protein, and seeing if that shifts anything. But if you really want to know what's going on, a more important marker to look at is a blood result of A1C. So you need to go get this done by your doctor. So hemoglobin A1C is basically a average of your blood sugar over about 2 to 3 months. And that one really matters. So ideally we want to be below about 5. And if you have that fasting insulin of 100, but you have a really low hemoglobin A1C, that fasting result of 100 is probably less to worry about. So I would make sure you go get some blood results, get that A1C, get your fasting insulin, get your fasting glucose, and then see what that what is going on there. Because I think some of us typically just have higher blood sugar than others, and it may not indicate anything for eating really healthy, and we have that low hemoglobin A1C. Okay, this is a good question. This is maybe a little bit less health related, but I'm super excited to answer this. So I noticed that you are super badass, always doing super cool things outside. So thank you. I love being badass. I want to be more outdoorsy. Where should I start? Would you recommend mountain biking? Could this help with my energy levels? So this is a great question. So yes, you should get more outdoors. You should be more outdoorsy. It's a really great way to reduce stress. I find it really balancing. Definitely, like when I'm stressed or anxious or anything, like I go for a walk. I love to spend time outside. It really, I guess, brings things into perspective. There's nothing I love more than feeling minuscule on this just like amazing landscape. So, I think it can improve your energy levels. I feel like I draw a lot of energy from the mountains, and I think spending more time outside can really help with energy. Do I recommend that you start with mountain biking? Probably not. It maybe depends on how much your pain tolerance is. So mountain biking is a really scary, gnarly sport. And if you want to start mountain biking, like, you need to be ready to fall all the time. My first 2 seasons of mountain biking, I crashed constantly. I was bruised up all the time. I spent a lot of time crying alone behind bushes because I was falling off my bike constantly. And I spent a lot of time being scared, and sometimes I'd be like, oh my God, at what point does this start being fun? Because I'm literally terrified all the time. It's a really, really hard sport to get into. You really got to want it, and you got to be pretty tough. So I don't know if I would recommend starting with mountain biking if you're not that outdoorsy yet. I would probably recommend starting with hiking. Hiking is a really, really good place to start because you need minimal gear to go into it. Like with mountain biking, my mountain bike costs $3,000. So it's a pretty high startup cost for getting outdoorsy. So I would probably recommend starting with hiking because really all you need is a decent backpack and a decent pair of hiking shoes. And, you can go online, in your area, you can research, the best hiking trails. You can start slow. A lot of people think hiking is walking on flat trails. That is not hiking. Hiking is going up mountains. So definitely look for trails in your area. Start with maybe like a 1 hour hike and go from there. I do some pretty big hikes. I mean, a lot of the areas I'm going into are in the Alpine, and sometimes it takes 5 to 8 hours to even hike into those areas. So maybe not the best place to start, but just start with getting a small hiking bag. Try to find, within a couple hours of yourself, Google some really good, the top hikes with really scenic views, and just start with like an hour to 2 hour round trip, and then keep kind of building on that because hiking is pretty gnarly, especially when you're carrying a lot of stuff on your back. And then once you do that and you're comfortable with that, I recommend getting into overnight camping, which is really cool, but it does require that you carry about 50 pounds on your back. So you will need more gear for that because you're going to need a good sleeping bag, you're going to need a thermarest, something to sleep on, you're going to need cookware, a stove, pots and pans, that sort of thing. So I really do recommend with day hiking because really all you need is snacks, a water bottle, a decent backpack, and a good pair of shoes. But if you do want to get into mountain biking, I mean, it's the most amazing sport. If you like adrenaline, it is crazy. It is so much fun. There's a really good app called Trail Forks where you can actually find, you can download your area and find all the mountain bike trails. So a lot of times I just roll up into an area by myself. I look at my app, I pick a trail, and it GPSes me the whole time. So I know exactly where I am on the trail, and I know exactly what the trail looks like. So it tells you like the elevation and that sort of thing. And then I can just kind of loop around. So it's pretty cool. In terms of if you want to get a mountain bike, I probably would start with a used bike because what's going to happen is you're going to get a bike, you're going to spend a couple seasons on it, and then you're going to decide you hate it. You'll really know what type of bike you should ride with your second bike. And so with my first bike, it was a really kind of more cross-country bike. It was really light, and a lot of where I live is a lot of really gnarly downhill. So in the end, I ended up going with a burlier bike. So you should definitely find out, like if you want to get into mountain biking, try to figure out like where are you going to mountain bike, and then find out what types of trails they are. Because if they're primarily steep downhill trails, you're going to want a heavier bike. You're going to want something with a bit more of like, it's called travel. So like the angle of the wheel, it kind of resembles more of a dirt bike versus if it's a lot of cross country. So going up and down, you want something that's lighter and better for pedaling. So you're going to want an all mountain bike, but a little bit lighter, a little bit more on the cross country side versus if you're going to be doing more downhill, you want something a little heavier, a little bit on the downhill side. So I recommend spending about $1,500 on a used bike. See how that goes and be prepared with the fact that you may not actually like that bike and you may actually sell it and get a new bike down the road. If you have anywhere that you can demo a bike, definitely try a bunch of different types of bikes and see what's up. Make sure you get sized properly for a bike, and make sure you get the gear. So lots of padding. You're going to want elbow pads. You're going to want knee pads. You're going to want bike shoes because they actually stick to the pedals, and you're going to want a really good helmet because when you start biking, even if you're just doing mellow trails, like easier, smooth trails, you're going to eat shit and you're going to fall and you're going to cry in a bush because it's a really scary sport. So, if you want to get started with mountain biking, go for it. It's amazing. It's such a cool way to see the world, but it's scary. So you kind of have to be tough, and you kind of have to be prepared to hurt yourself. So if that's not your jam, if you want something a little bit lighter, I would definitely go with hiking. It's a really, really great way to get started. You can send me a message, and if you want some, let me know where you're located because I've done hiking all over North America. I could probably recommend some good hiking trails for you, but that's a really good place to start. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. That's all the questions I have for today. So if you guys have questions for next week's Q&A, which will be next Thursday at 4:15 Pacific, you can comment on this video and let me know. You can send a message to my Facebook page, or you can email support@kendraperry.net, and I will make sure that gets answered during next week's Q&A. Okay, thanks everyone. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you're staying cool, and I will talk to you guys, I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday for the next Facebook live show. And I think we're going to be talking again about toxins. I'm going to be talking about 5 of the most random toxins that you need to avoid in order to be healthy, have energy, and lose weight. So that'll be on Tuesday, and I'll see you guys then.